Welcome to the Connectable podcast.
The Connectable podcast starts in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, it looks fresh.
Oh,
Thanks.
see?
I buzzed my
I'm such
hair.
a good friend.
I
There
know.
you go.
I know. You know the problem is I get my hair cut and I was getting ready to get it cut and then everything shut down. And so luckily, like I've done the buzz cut for so many years. I'm like, I'm just going to go back to it because I can't just let my hair grow wild like a chia pet. So I just buzz it. So yeah.
That's smart.
But what's
Way to go.
rough though is, and Trav, I think you guys, well, Deb, you wouldn't know this, but Trav, you've buzzed your hair before.
Yeah.
I never really processed it, but like this morning I went for a 4-mile run with my daughter.
Oh yeah.
My head was freezing cold. And I
Freezing.
stepped out, I'm like, oh, this is so stupid. I didn't have a beanie or anything. I'm like, man,
You gotta put a hat on.
I know I should have, but I always forget every time.
Yeah.
And then the next one I was like, I'll never forget. So
Yeah.
anyways, that's how we're going to start the show. So
Nice. There you go.
talking
Fresh
about for the fresh cut. So, hey, welcome everybody. Today's guest is my buddy, Travis Cole. He's a father, husband, photographer, kind of a male model in my eyes. I see you on Instagram, and I'll tell you, and I interned for Travis quite a few years ago when I was working with Be Change and Character Combine. And Deb, it's tough. And I was telling Rachel, that's my wife before this, I always hated walking places with you because like,
Whatever, dude.
there's a clear difference in how we look. And I'm like, man,
Whatever.
I got to walk next to this dude. It's like, it's
Stop,
embarrassing.
man.
So, and he's in better shape. He's much nicer than me. So,
No.
but man,
What
I'm,
nice. Nobody beats Josh in the nice category.
we used to have this argument all the time.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Here's the problem. If I was to ask your wife, I guarantee she would say that there's no way you're the nicest guy. And if you ask my wife, same thing.
Definitely.
So it really depends on who you ask. But
She would say you're way nicer.
yeah, and Rachel's like, oh, there's no question. She's like, he's way nicer than you. So,
the wives tell the truth.
Right?
yeah, absolutely. So, hey man, we're so grateful for you to be on the show. You're actually our first guest. This is a brand new podcast.
Oh,
You're our first
man.
guest. So I wasn't
That's
sure if I should tell him that.
Pressure.
Yeah.
Now I just got nervous, man.
I know. It's like,
man, now people always will go back to this one, no matter how many you've done. They always check out the first. So.
The first one.
that's true.
Yeah.
But you know what? I have so much faith in you, man. I'm like, this is the best way to start this podcast off. So,
Oh man.
So
All right.
how's
Well,
everything-
I
how's everything going?
honestly thank you for thinking of me and asking
Yeah.
me. So I appreciate that. I always wondered why you never asked me to be on the Character Combine one. So. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah. Oh my
I'm just-
Come
How
on
dare
now.
I'm just kidding. No.
Oh, now I'm nervous.
The backstory. No. Backstory. You actually asked me to help, like, co-host at different times. I remember. So I'm trying to put you on blast. It's not
That's good.
working.
No. I actually told Deb that. I said, just so you know,
Oh, yeah,
you
that's
were
right.
the second choice. Trav was my first choice, and I said, oh, and by the
Well-
way, next week he's going to be on our show. So
I do remember that now.
yeah,
Oh man, I'm glad I didn't throw you under the bus there.
no. I've been bragging about this to Deb the whole time. I'm like, just wait,
Oh man.
you'll know why you were my second choice.
Whatever.
No, I'm kidding.
Whatever,
I'm
dude.
kidding.
No, Travis, I put in my 2 weeks notice with him like every other week.
Fair enough.
Many
I'll
times.
pick up when you bounce.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. I know. It's actually I like often refer to you as the one that got away, Trav. It's like I almost had him. With me. But it's funny
Oh,
though.
man.
I think people that know both you and I, if they would have heard that you and I potentially could have started a podcast together, they probably would have kind of looked side-eyed, like, really?
Definitely, 100%.
You know what I mean? Because I'm an introvert. I know you're more introverted.
Same.
And
Yeah.
so that being said, I still have an idea in the back of my head. So if one day you're like, you know what, I want to do this podcasting thing,
Yeah.
like
You got
I'll drop Deb right now. You just let me know.
Whatever.
Just say the
Oh,
word.
man.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. I'll start a third podcast and then
Yeah. You're
Most
gonna have
people-
like 5 podcasts.
We'll
You have
have a whole
lots of
network.
people you like.
that's the problem. That's the problem. So hey, I do want to say one more thing. So basically, we're gonna do this thing where we explain how we're connected to the guests, and I've kind of already explained a little bit already. But when I started working with Be Change, Character Combine, Capital Christian, I was basically working under you. And I would kind of, I guess, report to you, if you will, and you would kind of give me assignments for the day, or we'd go work on stuff together. Honestly, man, some of the most fun I've ever had in a work setting, just because the stuff we did was so wild. From running clubs at Oak Ridge Elementary School to, getting stuck on the side of the road. Still one of my favorite stories.
Man, that's one of my best memories too.
So, Deb, I don't think I've told you this. So there was one time where Trav got a call from someone who wanted to donate all of this really nice furniture. And I forgot what city it was in, but it was probably 45 minutes away from Sacramento?
I think it was Yuba City.
Yuba City.
Yeah.
Yuba City. It was like out in this ranch. Yeah. And so it's like, that's awesome. So we got this truck, got this trailer. We drive out there. These guys load the truck up. It was like this really nice stuff. And then we're heading back, and it's 4:30?
Yeah, late in the afternoon. The hottest day of the year so far.
Hottest
legit,
day.
It
109.
was like, 109, yeah.
So hot. And so we're driving on the freeway, and then all of a sudden, Trav's like, oh man. And he kind of starts slowing down, like, oh, very funny. And then all of a sudden he's like, I'm not joking. He ran out of gas. And we're like in the middle of nowhere with this of furniture. And we're just sitting there. It's like, what do we do now? So it's like, well, there's like a farm on the other side of the freeway. So we crossed 6 lanes of freeway traffic to get to the other side.
Running on our feet. Yeah.
Running on our feet. Once we got to the other side, my genius brain realized, I have a AAA card. Why do we just cross? Why do we cross 6 lanes of freeway traffic? And then it's like, well, we got to get back. Well, then a cop passed us. Oh. And he's like, hey guys, I'll give you a ride to the other side. So that's my only time ever being in the back of a cop car.
Yeah.
And which was kind of cool. And then we waited there for AAA to give us some gas to get back home. But it was a wild experience.
It was wild events. We were debating whether or not we go up to some random ranch and knock on their door, but we were afraid, like, they might, like, who are we walking up to their door? Like, they're going to come out with a gun or something. Like, It was just sketchy where we were. So, but it was a good memory.
It's definitely a good memory. Not fun in the moment, but
yeah.
How long ago was that?
Oh man, like 8 years ago?
It was, probably 8 years. Yeah.
Probably about 8 years ago. Yeah, it was, but it was fun though. It was a good experience.
You're still like grown men. You're
I lucked out. Josh saved my butt so many times. Like, to say, like, I feel like we ran things together. I was somehow like ahead of you because you were an intern, but you helped run the show just as much as I did, I feel like, and had as much influence, and like, you were a stud amongst all of that. I looked up to you a lot of times, so
that's very nice.
I was like, how's Josh reacting to this?
That's very nice. It's not true, but and I'm gonna try not to cry on this podcast. He's gonna make me cry. So it was a lot of fun. But anyways, that's just kind of the connection. Like, just to bounce off what you just said, like, I definitely, there's probably about 5 men that I just have the utmost respect for. And just, I'll just say it, like, for me personally, there's not a lot of people I can say that about, and you're definitely in that category.
Oh man.
You're one of those 5, and some people since then have fallen out of that 5, but
that changes.
It changes, but you and a couple other guys have like maintained that status. So definitely appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man.
But anyways, we're not here to talk about that. It's like, it could be a love fest this whole time. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I was like, this was me. Like, I was.
Yeah.
Can we get on with this?
Yeah. It's like, why'd you invite me, Josh? This is awful. Okay. So, hey man, your wife, Melissa, is it appropriate to call her a fashion blogger, lifestyle blogger?
Yeah.
Any of those things?
It's a hard one. Like, when people ask it, like, often we get asked, like, what is it you guys do? And we say blogger, influencer. A lot of people I think that's relatable. I don't like referring to it as an influencer because I don't like the terminology behind it.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, I think that's what people recognize what we do as. Like, I think it's a common culture term at this point. So
right. I was gonna say, because the word influencer is pretty new I mean, referring
Yeah.
to the past couple of years, but you guys have been, I mean,
Right.
she's been doing this for a long time. So that word wasn't around
Yes.
a while ago. So
Totally.
it's weird.
Yep.
Yeah.
We often say, blogger, lifestyle, fashion, travel blogger, those sorts of terms. But I think that, like, even people, when we say that, they're like, well, what do you blog about? And it's like, well, lots of various things, but a lot of it kind of comes back to fashion. And we market for other companies that want to use our influence or our following where they think might fit their product. So,
which is such a cool thing. And it's funny, I feel like the influencers that I've heard talk about influence, that like that term, hate the word.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like you guys aren't alone. It's like anybody kind of in that same space that you guys are in.
Yeah.
They all kind of like, I guess I'm an influencer. That's what they call me, but I don't like that term.
I know. I've always not really liked that term either, but at the end of the day, I think that's probably one of the easiest ways to determine what we are, or like a name for it. So
Sure. So,
what she is, I'm not. I don't consider myself an influencer or blogger, any of those. My wife is, and I work alongside her. So,
which is actually leads me into my next question. So, like,
Yeah.
kind of give us a kind of a breakdown of how the whole thing works. Like, what is it like working with your wife? Like, what do you enjoy about it the most? What are the challenges? Because I imagine, you know what I'm saying? Like for my situation, my wife and I work separate places, and then, you know, obviously not now during the pandemic, but like in a normal situation, we go to the office or the school, then we come back together, and those two things are kind of separate. Like that separation isn't the same for you guys. So, you know, what is that whole world like?
It's one of the things I miss about going into a job, having that separation.
All right, there we go. Starting off hot.
If I'm being honest, no, but at the same time, like, there's so many pluses to it too. I think at the end of the day, we definitely like she's already like leader, entrepreneurial type, and like vision, all those like big terms, leader type that you would say. And I just kind of been along for the ride. I can be more of a follower. So having my wife tell me what to do is challenging sometimes, because I don't think a lot of husbands like to feel that, like, my wife's telling me what to do. And I mean, she doesn't do it on all things, but when it comes to work stuff, she often I go to her, I'm like, hey, what do you need done? Like, she's my boss in a sense. But ultimately, yes, we work together, and it has challenges. Like I said, I think there's a lot of good things too. But we definitely tend to fight, like, over dumb things. Like,
Sure.
and the problem about it is there's no getting away from it, because we still have to accomplish work for that day. So oftentimes we're forced to, resolve the problem at hand a lot faster than if we weren't working together. So it kind of forces us to always come back and mend our relationship, and, trying to come to a common ground where we can move forward and forget about what we just fought over happened today. And so,
Okay.
so like this is fresh right now, but yeah. So and honestly, like, so I don't want to get in anything politically, because I can't stand politics right now.
We can't either.
But
Go
it's
ahead,
where
man.
we're at. Yeah.
We
Just
don't
with
even
it.
go there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not getting into
No,
it.
hey,
But my
you're
wife
the
and
guest.
I-
Go for it, bro.
you go.
Yeah.
Go for it.
We just
My
won't
wa-
comment on it. That's what we're trying to say.
Fair
It's like,
enough,
we won't,
fair enough.
You say
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
you
yeah.
want.
My wife and I are on two different spectrums. And
Oh.
so that's caused a lot of arguments and conversations and fights and not seeing eye to eye. So, we have to find some common ground. Sorry, my little guy's coming in here. We
That's
have
all
to
good.
find some common ground and get over, our views on things and move forward. And it's challenging. Like, we've had so many fights regarding it. But at the end of the day, like, I think we challenge each other, like, in our views, and which is a good thing. Like, I don't want to be so set on one particular view that I'm not thinking of the other side. And she's actually really helped me understand the other side. And I like to say, she always says I always fall somewhere in the middle, and that's just like my peacemaker side of me. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so through all this, like we've had extra conversation, extra fighting, and it's been rough, but at the end of the day, like we still love each other and we still try to work through it. And I can't tell you how many times I try to avoid it, but we have to get it out, and we still talk about it. And yeah, and like even today, like at the end of the day, we move forward and we're good now. And that's always feels good when you can end getting along and still caring for that person and loving them deeply.
Yeah.
Amongst frustrations with each other. So
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting as far as I'm going to go back to it about the political stuff, because obviously that is such a heated thing right now amongst people.
Right.
And it's a very interesting thing that you guys are on opposite sides of it in the same house.
Right.
Was there a specific moment where you guys realized like, oh man, this is gonna be crazy?
Man, yeah, I don't know if I can't like nail it back to one specific moment.
Yeah.
I think we used to be very similar minded in our views on but first of all, neither of us were very political people. Like we weren't really invested in and like knowledgeable about a lot of politics till this current year. And I think a lot of people would probably say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, I can't remember back to any one specific moment, but her just kind of researching more and having friends that might be, you know, sending her stuff, and she's open-minded and willing to change her views often, and I try to be as well. However, like we at the end of the day, we see things differently, and our priorities are different. Our end goal is the same. Our ways of getting there are completely different at this point. And so I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough subject. Like some of my closest friends are more on her side of things, and like for me, I wish I could just say, yeah, I think like they do too, but at the end of the day, I don't. And I try not to make like a strong stance or point about anything, but yeah, it is what it is at this point. And I don't I'm going far off.
No, that's good. That's what a podcast is for, man. We have no direction.
Yeah.
We're lucky we could turn the computer on and start recording.
Yeah.
So, no, that is a really interesting thing, because I think, I think you hear all the time, especially at least in the circles that, podcasts I listen to and people that I know, like the idea in an ideal world, like civility is the main thing, right? Like even if you have differences of opinions, you should be able to come together and talk about those things.
Totally.
However, I think sometimes, and I think this past year has proved this, it's a nice idea, but I don't know how many people have the ability to actually do it. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And there's a lot of different ways I can go. I had this conversation the other day. I think, you know what I mean? It is a nice idea. And so the fact that you guys are in the same house, married, in a relationship, and you guys are opposite, I mean, you guys have to kind of do that, because like your kids are going to see those conversations, right? And then so it's like how you, even if you guys have differences of opinions, how you handle those things is an example to them still. And so, which can be a really healthy and amazing thing. And it sounds like you guys are handling it pretty well, so that's awesome.
I don't know if you can say I think we're getting there. Like we're solving it out, definitely. And it's been a long process for the last couple months of conversation, and we haven't handled that properly, I think, sometimes in front of our kids. Like Ella, our oldest daughter, she's 9, almost 10, she comes down, she's like, can you guys stop talking about politics or like our presidents? And I'm like, I'm sorry, Ella, like sorry you had to deal with it. And we have to remind ourselves, like, hey, let's talk about this another time, because we get heated and passionate about it, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, we're working through it. And it was funny, my wife Melissa posted on her Instagram on the day that we voted, November 3rd, that we both like voted for each other. It's been hard and we still love each other at the end of the day. And it was crazy how many people actually were in the same boat, like husband and wife. Like if you go back and read the comments, there was hundreds of comments were like, "Oh man, I'm so glad to hear we're actually in the same boat as that." So I think it's more common than people like. It was way more eye opening to me. Like it was very more common than I think I ever realized. So, but yeah, it's been fun one.
Yeah, oh, I bet. I bet. Yeah, well, I've heard some people talk about how they're not married yet, but they're in a serious relationship with someone, and then these
Yeah,
conversations have started, and they're like,
yeah,
I don't know if I can take that next
they're
step.
done.
Yeah.
It's like a deal breaker for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm fortunate in a
Wow.
sense that, my wife is, same mindset as me as far as politics. Like we're not really into it. So like you pay attention a lot more, especially like you said, Trav, this year. But we still, it hasn't become a problem just because I think neither one of us is still really that into politics. But I can imagine that if we start going down that road, there could potentially be
Yeah.
some crazy conversations, I'm sure. So,
For
but
sure.
that's cool though that people are like. I mean, that's the cool thing. I know you guys don't like the influencer title, but that's kind of
Yeah.
what an influencer is, right? Like,
Yeah.
like you're basically living your life in front of people.
Correct.
And even in those types of moments where there's a little bit more tension, and then you have all these people come out and say, dang, I didn't realize that there were other people that were going through the
Right.
same thing. So it's kind of a cool thing. So even in the tense moments, something really
Yeah.
good is coming from it, which is awesome.
Definitely. And that's one thing like Mel's always been really good about. And I think both of us were very open with, I think people grasp onto that, and it's easy to follow on Instagram because so much of it is superficial stuff and like buying things and advertising products and fashion and another thing, like people get tired of that, we get tired of it. So for her, I think a lot of her following appreciates her just being vulnerable and honest and open with her thoughts and her life, and that her life's not perfect and that we have struggles, that we have fights. It makes her a lot more relatable to people, and it's one thing I always appreciate about her and what we do. So
Yeah, that's great. So just bouncing off of all that with just working with your wife, how do you guys, so if you're working a lot and then, like you said, you're keeping it real, like, you fight sometimes and then you're cool, but how do you balance all of that? So like, do you guys like have like a day of like, okay, you do your thing, I'll do my thing, to kind of just not take like a break from each other?
Yeah.
If you know what I mean?
No,
But, like,
no, for sure.
have like a balanced system there where you guys do
Yeah.
things together too and then separately, or how do you do that?
Definitely. She's good about giving me that space, because that's actually like, I could go a long time without like needing that like connection with her. Like I thrive when I'm kind of by myself oftentimes, where I just have like more headspace. And my previous job, I did landscaping, and I literally worked by myself all day, every day. So I had just like a ton of thought process. I would listen to podcasts. Like I enjoyed that. Like some people are like, how do you do that? I'm like, I love it. Like I love just being off in my own mind, I guess. But yeah, she's good. Like when we need that, or when I need that time, she's like more than willing to give it. And I like doing fitness stuff really helps me with when I'm in a bad headspace. It helps kind of clear my mind, and I come back rejuvenated and instantly in a better mood oftentimes. So I try to do that daily at this time. But I think that's one good thing that we're good with. She's like good with me getting away and doing stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's good. How did you guys meet? Sorry, that just popped into my head as you
No,
were
that's a
talking
good question.
about that.
Yeah,
How did you
good
guys
question.
meet?
We met, I was a senior in high school and I had just graduated. We went to the same school, and she was, I just graduated my senior year and she was finishing her sophomore year. So I was a couple years older than she was. And one of my best friends is a year younger, and he was good friends with her. And I always thought she was attractive. So I was like, hey, let's go hang out with Melissa. And so he was like, okay. So he called her and we hung out. and then like as a group, like her and my buddy and someone else, and then it just kind of evolved from there. So we dated. She dated her junior and senior year. She dated me, and then we dated for, I think we dated for 5 years total before we got married. She got married at a young age. I got married. I think I was 24 and she was 20 when she got married. But
okay.
like we're more like closer to 3 years apart. It's just the way the birthdays hit. But yeah, so yeah, we're like 3 years apart. But when we got married, I had just turned 24. She was about to turn 24 2 months after we got married. And like on our honeymoon, she wanted to get a drink, like an alcoholic drink, and she couldn't do it because she wasn't even old enough. So I was buying her drinks on our honeymoon.
Like, here you go, honey, I got you.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
No, that is
such-
pretty cool. And then look at you guys now. Now you guys are like all over the place.
Yeah.
People are like
we've been
following your
married
life
for 12 years now. So yeah, it's crazy.
That's
Yeah, it's
awesome.
funny, man. This the whole blogging thing, how it took off, like just honestly just super fortunate, and didn't foresee this happening. It just kind of like it was something that Mel was really passionate about. I always supported it. I think early on, the early stages, like I think with this particular job, with any job, there's like a financial investment up front. Ours looked a lot different, I think, than some companies, but like for her, she had to buy clothes in order to, advertise those clothes or get people, following her for fashion. So at the time we didn't have any money. So we would set aside like super minimal amount of money, and she would go to Marshall's, or just like cheaper places to get fashion, and she would find stuff that she liked and post it, and then it just really took off. So now today looks way different than it did when we first started, and crazy how it took off. Like just lucked out. She
awesome.
works nonstop though. Like she loves doing it. She's constantly putting time and effort into it, and I think that it's paid off and it's showing. So
for sure. Well, and I feel like, again, it kind of goes back to you guys working together. It's not really a job where you can get away from completely, right? Like it's just with you all the time. Because I mean, she is kind of like, she's attached to the products that that companies are reaching out for her to help advertise. So it is just a very bizarre world. Because like, I mean, it's not like the normal 9 to 5 by any means.
Not at all. No.
So what is your role in the whole thing?
Honestly, this was like hard for me to explain to people at first, but at the end of the day, it was like humiliating for me to explain, because initially I was like, oh yeah, we'll take pictures all like every week. Like I'll be way more available for that, because before I worked a job where I worked 4 days, but I worked like 10-hour days on those 4 days a week, and then I had 3-day weekend. So Fridays we always allotted to going and taking pictures for her blog or for her Instagram. So she would take like 4 outfits with her. We'd spend all day taking pictures of these outfits, and then she'd have like 4 pictures to post over the next few days. And so we would do that, and then so when I finally quit my job a little like a year and a half ago, and I started working full time with Mel. And at the point we were able to do that financially, and we were probably able to do it before, but just never committed to it because it's just kind of like an intimidating thing. Like, are we going to be fine? Healthcare, like all that stuff. So finally just made the jump, and honestly, it's been really good. I think for us and our family, it's made it a lot more comfortable at home, not so chaotic, where we have a little more structure. And I think that's ultimately what we were looking for, like, because it seemed like there was no day off for us. Like it was constant go, trying to entertain the kids in the meantime, and just didn't feel like we were fully present. So that was like one of our big reasons for me stopping and just helping with back end things on the blog, or communicating with different companies, emails, different stuff like that. That's kind of what I envisioned, and it hasn't really been that. So we basically ended up, my best way to describe what I do is a stay-at-home dad. and
Nice.
and I take some pictures on the side.
Okay.
But so
Yeah.
yeah, it's like not glorifying at all. Like I literally I clean up a lot of the days. I do laundry. I do all of our laundry. I do all the grocery shopping, all the cooking, dishwasher, like sink.
Wow.
I do all of that stuff.
Nice.
And it takes up a lot of my time. And then in the middle, I find, different chores to do with, or tasks to do with middle school vlogs. So, yeah,
So-
that's
Awesome.
I say a stay-at-home dad.
There you go. That's awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
so the thing that comes to my mind, so as you know, I'm a teacher and we're in distance
Yeah.
learning right now. So your kids are in distance learning right now as well.
They were
Okay.
toward like back at the end of last year. They were like when the virus hit,
Right.
we did homeschooling, and I was like in charge of all of that duty.
Great.
Nice.
And so
Great.
and I'm not good at it. Like I was just lucky. Like if they got their work, I was at the point where I was doing their work for them because it was just easier for me to do it than to have to like explain to have them do it. I was like the worst. So
It's all coming out on the podcast. So this is turning into a confessional. What is going on here?
I would write with I'm left-handed. I would write with my right hand and try and make it look like a kid. Don't tell anyone.
You're lucky you're the first guest,
This
man.
is awesome.
Yeah.
If we were more established at this point, but you know how many people would have heard this?
Yeah.
Oh my
So they're gonna
God.
go back and hear it.
They're gonna go back. Yeah. That's awesome.
No,
Oh my
but now they're in a private school, and
Right.
so they actually do meet, which is like it's
You're
glorious. So
laughing.
it's really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're doing that, and some private schools in the area got like permission and I don't know the right
Right.
clearance that they needed from the healthcare system and stuff. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's what I
Yeah.
thought of is right now. I'm sure it's so hard for
Totally.
parents right now with school aged kids, just
Yeah.
because the stuff that I see when they're
Right.
on Zoom, I see little babies running in the background.
Right.
Their siblings are like sitting with them.
Yeah.
They're little toddler siblings, and
Crazy.
the parents come. It's just like I can see things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh! And I hear stories from like yourself and like fellow friends, my friends who are parents of school age kids, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is the worst.
Yeah.
Like I have to help them.
Yeah.
Out. This is so bad. So I just
Totally.
feel for all the parents right now. That is like, rough.
I 100% feel for parents and teachers. Like I don't know how you guys deal with that. Like I can't imagine. That would be super stressful and challenging, and like you have to be creative and figure out ways to connect with the students and doing things that you weren't trained to do. Like that's just, it's nuts what's going on right now for sure. So credit to you and all the parents out there. Like they're killer, like way better than me. So because like I said, I was doing my kids' work. So
Man, I
don't think you're the only one. I'm pretty sure you're not the only one. So
I have this vision in my head of Trav sitting at home, like last March, and then them announcing like there's this stay-at-home order and we're gonna be distance learning, and like his eyes getting huge, like no.
Yeah,
What that
in
meant for you.
trouble, man.
Oh,
it started out fine, and I think as it like prolonged, I was like, I can't do this, and I gave up early on it. So, but we like at the time, Zoom was just starting off like at the end of the school year. So they would only do it. They would have like a Zoom meeting like maybe twice a week. It wasn't even every day. So it was just like maybe I can't remember. It might have been like once a day, but it was like for 30 minutes, super easy. And now like we have kids in our neighborhood that get on from like 8 to 12, and I'm like, how? Like my kids would never do that. Like I mean. We would have to make them. I don't know how that would work out. But.
Let me ask you this, Trav. What's your best subject?
Yeah. With the kids, I was pretty good at math.
Okay, nice.
I
couldn't do that.
Yeah.
No, I'm awful at math.
My daughter is like very smart, so she was like teaching me things on different subjects and like getting mad at me for not teaching her right. Like, yeah, that's wrong. I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, trying my best here.
That's awesome. No, I'm so bad at math. That would be, we're not at that point yet, but if that were to happen.
we're talking kindergarten and third grade math. So I think you got it.
Oh no. I understood that. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
I'm still bad
I
at
was
it.
Googling like her grammar stuff. I was Googling like what a conjunction was and like all these different things.
Oh
Like
my gosh.
back to terms I don't even remember.
It's like what's that? What was
Sorry.
that show? The cartoon.
Oh, Schoolhouse Rock?
Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Schoolhouse Rock. Take it back to the Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a good transition to my next thought is with your kids. So obviously, like you and your wife. First of all, do you ever get recognized around the city?
Mel does often. Occasionally, Mel will get a DM like, "Hey, I saw your husband at this place" or something like that. Like just something funny. But it doesn't happen often. If Mel goes to the mall, she gets recognized there, like by one or two people.
Okay.
And then occasionally at dinner, like someone might say something, but
Gotcha.
it's not like major celebrity status or anything, you know.
Sure. I was just curious. And
Yeah.
well, I feel like just recently, your shorts were a topic of conversation.
Man, that was a hot topic, man.
It was. I'm like, I like his shorts. I don't see anything wrong with this. And I don't know if that's weird.
Yeah.
My wife's in the other room. It's fine. Yeah.
Hey, man, that we influence short shorts too, man.
There you go. But hey, so
you need to explain it. I had some running shorts on because I do some running, and they were like mid thigh, and I choose to wear them just about every. Dude, it's so warm here. I've been wearing shorts like every day. I mean, just the last week it's gotten colder, but I feel like I'm wearing shorts every day. So
I'll be honest. I didn't think they were that short, but that's just
good.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
Yeah, I don't know if you wanted my opinion on that, but I didn't think that.
No, I do. I appreciate it. I didn't think they were that bad either, man.
Yeah,
I'm still wearing them every day.
people are crazy. But
is that the topic that they were too short?
Yeah, Mel did like a Q&A, you know, like how you can do a Q&A, like ask me anything or whatever, and someone was like, "How do you feel about your husband wearing short shorts all the time?" Or said something like that, and I was like, they out of all the questions they asked that, like they could have asked her anything. I'm like, and so she videoed me, and it got a lot of controversy around it.
Sure.
That is awesome.
Hey man, keep rocking them. It's all good. So,
Thanks.
So anyways, I'm gonna go back to I got sidetracked. So
yeah, no worries.
You guys are obviously like to a certain extent public figures, right? Like you guys is I believe both of you guys well obviously Melissa's social media is public. I think yours is too.
Yeah.
So with that, you know, and part of the from what I see, part of like the appeal of you guys is obviously not only the fashion, but like your family. Like you guys post a lot of pictures of your kids, things that you guys do, vacations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a two-part question. Like what was, because I know that I'm sure there was a conversation that went into that as far as how much are we going to expose our life? Because I you know, one of my favorite bloggers or YouTubers, his name's he's a rapper, Belief and Fatherhood. He does a lot of dope stuff, but it's about fatherhood. So his kids are highlighted, but like that's part of the appeal and why people tune in, because they want to see that positive interaction with the family. But then it's also for you guys as parents, it's like, do we want to open up our family to, I mean, people are stupid on social media. Let's just say it. Like they say dumb things. They talk about your shorts, you know what I mean? Like they negative.
Hey, that's minimal.
I was gonna say that's not bad, but like you see it, like we're all sports fans. Like you see the sports Twitter, it's wild, and that's over a sports team. So when it comes to like your family, that stuff's gonna hit a lot closer to home. So I guess my question is, what was that conversation like? And then, you know, what is, I guess, the positive and the negative that you've seen from, you know, basically putting your life out there to the public?
Yeah. We've definitely, I think it's funny because they actually kind of started, I talk about fashion, but she actually posted like pictures. She always take pictures of the kids, and we always tried to dress them in like cute clothes, like, cause that was stuff that we were interested in, like fashion, obviously. So we posted, you know, a picture often of our kids. And at the time it was like 1,000 followers, our friends and, you know, people that knew us, or small following. And then they kind of evolved because people were liking pictures of the kids too. It wasn't just Mel's fashion. It was kind of like it was a family thing. So I think people relate to pictures with the kids. And when we talk about, you know, teaching our kids different things and life lessons and whatnot. So which is incorporated in how we deal with the struggle of being a parent. There's also obviously the flip side is like the best thing in the world too. So, but yeah, we talk about like how much we want, we've talked about it, how much we want them to be present on there. And I think as of the last probably 2 years, we've minimized that way more, scaled it back way more than what we used to. And a lot of it was because it was kind of like, they're getting older now. Like, I don't know. We did kind of feel like convicted about it. Like maybe we're putting them out there too much. And, you know, and at the same time, we still do it, obviously. Like if you go look at our Instagram, they're on a picture often too, but it's scaled back from what it was. And, we didn't want our kids either to be like grown up, because they hate taking pictures like any kid does. Like I don't know a kid that actually enjoys taking pictures.
Sure.
So when we explain to them that, you know, this is our job and we have to take pictures, and we try to tell them like why we're taking the pictures for our job, so that we can do these fun things and go on trips and like, you know, live the life that we live. It helps us and explaining that to them. But at the end of the day, like we don't want them to like grow up and be like super frustrated with, you know, the way that we raise them and force them into taking all these pictures. Because I mean, I don't know that they'll look back and feel that way, but we want to give them their space and their privacy too. But yeah, I don't know that we're like real concerned about like I don't know, weird people on the internet. Like I don't know where you're going with it, but we're not like too concerned about like the protection of them. We don't feel that way. We feel safe in how we manage that too. So
yeah, no, I guess I was thinking more along the lines of just, you know, the comment warriors out there, you know, the people that want to, you know, they might make fun of, like, in all seriousness, like obviously we're joking about your shorts, but like they might take a shot at something you're doing, or they might take a shot at something that Melissa's doing, or maybe they would take a completely inappropriate shot at like your kids, you know what I'm saying, or how you guys parent. It's more, that's more what I was referring to, because I imagine like once you hit a certain echelon of followers, like that stuff's just gonna happen.
You get the criticism when you're putting your life out there 100%. So yeah, it definitely comes, and we know it comes, and most of the time it's easy to brush off unless they take it real personal. I mean, we get personal. Mel gets personal comments every now and then. I'll get some random person that I just laugh about it. Like I go to their Instagram, it's private. They don't have any posts on their thing. Like they just follow like 500 people. I'm like, you're just creating this fake burner account to go hate on people. And so I try, like that stuff, it's easy just to brush off. I usually just block it, delete it. Don't even respond, give them the time of the day. But you know, Mel does good at responding to people when necessary. I think there's a time to respond and stand up for yourself where she does that. Then there's certain ones that are just like so off the wall, like you're just coming on here to try and, you know, get some publicity or something like that. You know, like they're trying to get seen and get there. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we just ignore those and move on. It definitely gets under like it depending on the topic. Mel definitely can, you know, feel it like anyone would. I like there was one phrase, if you live by people's praises, you'll die by their criticism. So try not to get too caught up in like, oh, you're the greatest, you're beautiful, you know, like you take that with, you know, thankfulness and humility, but at the same time you try not to get too down on yourself when people criticize you, unless it's like a loved one, you know, or someone close to you. Then you can listen to that a little easier, or like, you know, check yourself.
right
So
it's crazy. I would take all that way too personal.
It happens, and that like people are human, like we're human, my wife's human, like definitely it can get under your skin and offend you, and there's been the moments of, you know, breaking down and letting it bother you too much, but you gotta move forward, put it in the past.
You gotta have skin.
Yeah, well, it's a weird thing though too,
definitely.
right? Because you hear people say that all the time, And then I think, you know, for people for myself, I've seen it happen on, you know, with athletes. And you think, man, you're making millions and millions of dollars, and some dude, like you said, has a private account with no, you know, like on Twitter has the little egg still.
Yeah.
Like you're letting that bother, and you're responding. And I think sometimes it's easier said than done. But when you're the one that's being attacked, even if you have millions of dollars and you're, you know, elite at whatever you do, it's like there's still that temptation to like just I'm gonna roast this person, let them have it. So yeah, I think it is a challenging thing. I'm gonna be honest. I wish I'm hoping that this podcast gets so big where we have to deal with that, but it hasn't been the case yet. So, I would love some hate coming our way. Yeah.
Fortunately,
be careful what you ask for.
Yeah. I feel like that means we made it, but maybe not. If this podcast turns out to be really bad, then it's just like, well, maybe everybody's right. This podcast kind of sucks, and we should probably quit.
When we start getting hate, then we know we made it.
That's what I say.
Yeah, that's what people say, definitely.
That's right. So this just popped in my head. I wasn't going to ask this question, so this is not one of the
very good
standard questions I would ask. But so both you and your wife are like, you guys are like, when you guys post pictures, the stuff that you're promoting and all that, like you're in the pictures, like you are one of the focal points. So in a sense, you are part of the product, right? Like if it's not for you in the picture, it's gonna be harder to sell it. So I've always wondered with people that do what you guys do, I know that you are one of the most humble people I know. But that being said, I imagine there are moments where it's a struggle to maintain humble or stay humble because of, you know, it's like people are constantly commenting like, oh my gosh, like I love the way you dress. I love this. I love that about you. So like, is that a struggle for you guys, or how do you guys deal with that or maintain the humility?
For me, it's not like, and I can't speak for Mel, but I don't believe it's an issue. I think everyone likes comments, right? Like we all like positive comments regarding whatever it is that we're doing. So any positive feedback, it's nice to get, but at the same time, you can't glorify that to where you put it on a pedestal where it drives your emotions. It puts you in a different space than before that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that might be too much, but for me, I'm not in the same light as Melissa. So that's where it's hard for me to speak for her, but but yeah, I think she's always maintained a level of humility and, you know, walks very humbly or with humility amongst people and people that, in her crowds and different crowds that she goes into. So I don't think that it's gotten to us at all. I shouldn't say at all, because it's probably changed us to some degree, but I think we understand, like, we don't take our job for granted, like, ever. Like we always say, like, our job could literally end tomorrow, like, and just like anyone's job. And then, but that was funny part too. Like back when I quit my job, they're like, what if Instagram shuts down? I'm like, what if your job shuts down? Like people's jobs shut down all the time. Like, and the likelihood of Instagram just shutting down, or like her account gets hacked and shut down, like whatever it is, like we'll deal with it at the time, but I'm not going to like live in fear and not, you know, try and move forward and take this opportunity to the next level if we can. So we try not to like think of, we've got it made, we got this life for the rest of our lives. Like we don't look at it like that at all. We are definitely thankful and where it's brought us, and it could shut down tomorrow and we'd move on and figure out something else to do. So, and go get a job, like another job. So it's like you take life one day at a time, and
definitely hire her and you guys as my personal shopping assistants. Fashion people, because I know nothing. Although I can afford you guys, that would be the thing.
That's what you said. I have texted Trav before when I was out buying shoes. I'm like, hey man, what do you think about this? You know what I mean? I had to ask him. Like, I feel bad sometimes when I walk out of my house for work and I hop on Instagram and I see you. It's like, this is like a normal day for this dude. That's how he dresses. And I try really hard to look okay. And then, you know, I see a picture of Trav. It's like, this guy.
Bro,
Makes me feel bad.
I wear sweats and short shorts every day, man. I wear a sweatshirt and
shorts.
short
And
shorts.
it still looks better. I'm just saying.
So whatever.
Those
It's
shorts
true.
are gonna be famous and expensive one day.
Yeah, right.
That's true, man. You should just like frame those shorts.
Right.
And then like
Everyone
a
can
picture
stop
of that caption
Yeah.
or that comment, and then
Right.
it could be worth a lot one day. Yeah.
I know.
Um,
Yeah. Mel, like, it's funny because like I do love fashion. I've always loved fashion to some degree, but it goes like my fashion revolves around shoes. Like I love shoes, and I can remember back to like 6th grade. I loved getting new shoes even back then, and then so when I became an adult and I could actually buy shoes when I wanted or like whatever. I've hustled for the longest time of my even adult life and having kids, like early on kids where I couldn't afford it. Like, I'd ask for it for my birthday or Christmas for my parents, or, I'd get a pair of shoes and then it's funny. I find ways to make money, and that money would go straight to shoes. Like if I made extra supplemental money on the side, it just went to make like buying shoes, and then that just created a collection. And so yeah, it's a bad habit. Like if I get extra money, like spending money, it just goes to shoes. So my fashion isn't that great. Mel gives me a hard time.
Don't let him fool you. But how many shoes do you have roughly, and what's your favorite pair right now?
Good question. I'd say I probably have around 50 pairs of shoes. And one thing about my shoes is I don't always do this, but I try to do this. If I get a new pair of shoes, I try and get rid of a pair of shoes. So I'll sell it. I've given some away to friends. It's like I don't necessarily have the same size as like all my friends. But I've given some away to friends. But yeah, I typically sell it and use that money, recycle that money for shoes. Favorite pairs of shoes at the moment, I would say I got some Jordan 1, the mochas recently that I really like. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right.
It's funny. The only time I'm not into shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have Adidas running shoes. That's about like that's all I know. Like I'm not into brands, but the Jordan 1 mochas that you just said, the only other time
you'll have
right?
more money.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, all my money goes to spending Crystal Rose's clothes from the Rebellia clothing line.
Yeah.
It's another girl.
Gotcha.
So that's where that goes. But the Jordan 1 mochas, the only other time I've ever heard that was when I asked my high school kids one time on Zoom. Every morning I give them like a quick attendance question. I answer. I'm like, what do you want for Christmas? I think I had about like 5 Jordan 1 mochas.
No way.
What is that?
That's funny.
Like, is that a shoe? Like, I don't even.
Is that a shoe?
No,
Yeah.
When you said that, I said, I know what that is. I've heard it before.
That's good. You were able to relate today. That's good.
Yeah, it is fun, man, following you on Instagram and seeing the shoes that you have, because I'm jealous. I wish you were a size 12, because I didn't know about this giving away
would share some with
thing.
you, man.
Maybe what size do you wear?
10 to 10.5 usually.
Well, that's not going to work. So
certain shoes.
Dang.
Certain shoes I'm a 10, certain shoes I'm a 10.5. I'm probably a true 10 to be honest. But yeah, it's funny. I have shoes and I like to because I like photography, so I like to photograph them sometimes. But I don't always like sharing them because I feel like I'm like, oh, look what I just got. And like I don't like doing that. Like it's not my job. That's Mel's job, to be honest. And she actually makes money from posting clothes that she puts on there. I don't make any money. Like it just is like a fun thing for me, like a hobby. But I definitely I enjoy shoes, and I try not to like be too like flaunting about them. But occasionally I put it out there.
Just basically go out there like my shoes are dope. Like what can I do?
Yeah.
I can't do anything about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't bought a pair of shoes for a long time. And I feel like some people, and it sounds like you might be this way, it's not too far between each pair that you buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine's been a while. Mine are pretty gross. My closet would make you feel very sorry for me. You know what I mean? It's like, and as a shoe person,
Yeah.
you're like, this is sad. This is a sad
Oh,
connection.
I wouldn't care at all. Like that's the norm. Like I feel like I'm abnormal, so you should like be hating on me. So
No, not at all. Just jealous. I feel like some
Yeah.
people, especially like when you get to like a certain level of celebrity and like, you know, when you have a lot of money,
Yeah.
some people are out there that love shoes and they're like, oh, they won't wear the same pair 2 days in a row. That's a
crazy.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
right? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm not alone.
That is crazy. No,
Too
I
much.
don't do that. I have shoes from years ago, like that I still wear. But one thing, I always keep my sneakers like really clean. I like to clean them when they start to get dirty. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I try to keep up on them, and that way I can sell them later for some money and get a new pair of shoes. So,
There
but
you go.
and one thing I don't do that a lot of like people in the sneaker culture will do is like buy expensive shoes. I actually don't buy, like if I won't pay resale for shoes. I always buy a shoe for retail. So if I don't get that shoe for, like, say it comes out, a new sneaker comes out tomorrow, but most shoes in the sneaker culture sell out really fast, like the nice hot commodity ones, the
Sure.
Jordan 1 mochas. They'll
Yeah.
sell out like instantly, and it's just kind of luck of the draw if you get them or not. So you just like, you hit buy now, and you have your credit card information in there, and then it's like up to the sneaker gods if you get it or not. And then if I don't get it, I'm okay with that. Like I won't get that shoe, and I'll move on to the next shoe because there's always a new one. So I don't ever pay resale for like those Jordan ones that are like $170 shoes, but they sell for like $350 right now. So it's like I'm not paying $350 for the shoe,
Right.
but it's worth that. So
Right. Your shoes are weird because I kind of know my lane. You know what I mean? Like I kind of know at this
Right.
point which shoes like I would
yeah,
probably buy and which ones I shouldn't
Yeah.
even touch. But the ones that got me, and you would know about this, the Air Fear of Gods, when those came out, I'm like,
yeah.
those are really cool.
They're amazing.
And I clicked the website, I'm like, oh, not that cool. Like I can't afford that.
Never mind.
Like that was like, what was I thinking? I was running
know.
outside my lane. That was dumb. I gave myself
I
hope.
hear you.
Cool.
I don't blame you. I know
Yeah.
that stuff's, it's insane. Like $400 shoes, like,
Yeah.
and you're lucky if you get those, and if you don't get them, you're gonna pay $1,000 for them. So
right
yeah,
on was it
it's funny.
StockX?
Yeah.
That's where I went. I'm like, oh well,
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
I looked into it. Wasn't going to happen. So
one last story on the sneaker game for me. If I often try to win any shoe that, like, I can typically know, like you can go on StockX, kind of see before the shoe even releases if it's going to be a value. It'll be way more than what the retail price is for it. So I go on there ahead of time. I often look, and I will try and get just about any shoe of value. And if I don't like the shoe, I get it and sell it on StockX or another app that does similar things. And then I take that money and keep it in my shoe fund. So it's just a constant hustle. I hate it, but it is what it is.
That's pretty good. No, this is good.
Yeah.
We're trying to connect people. So that somebody's listening to this right now and like, that's genius.
Yeah.
The same
They're
thing.
like, yeah. Sorry, we're hitting a lot of avenues here. I feel like I'm talking too much though.
No. You're the guest,
Great.
man.
This is what we
I
do.
feel like we talk too much. And sometimes we're like,
Yeah.
we should probably let the
No,
guests
that's
speak.
good. We want the guests to talk. People don't want to hear us talk.
Yeah, they
People
wanna
want
hear
to
us.
hear the guests talk. They're tired of us.
Whatever.
They're stuck with us every single week. So
Okay.
yeah, they're like, that's enough.
There's certain podcasts that I go to every week to hear them talk. Like we actually follow the same one. I was gonna, you had asked like one person of influence that I like to follow, and
Oh yeah.
well, you had sent me a question, so I was thinking about that. And Erwin McManus, I recently came
my
across his
favorite.
podcast. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I see you on. I can see your name liking the things.
Oh,
and
all the
stuff.
time. Yeah.
I love that podcast. I listen to the two
Yeah.
podcasts they put out. That's the only one I'll sit there and listen to every single one. But I love their take on so many different subjects. Very diverse.
Oh, I've brought him up. I brought Erwin up on the Combine podcast multiple times. Like I feel like I'm constantly quoting him or recommending one of his books. But
Right.
I love that podcast. We won't get into this now, but I do want to hear your thoughts about everything that he recently went through with his clothing brand. Because
interesting, right? I know.
yeah, like I said, I won't make people listen to that right now. But we'll have to talk about that because I would be interested in your thoughts.
It's a bonus conversation.
A bonus conversation.
Yeah.
We may have to start a Patreon and
There
make
you
people
go.
pay for this. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Hey, Trav, let me ask you a
Right.
question. If we did start a Patreon, would you like take a picture of yourself in the short shorts for us? And then we'll put
yeah.
it like $50. Right? If you want this
Yes.
picture.
Sure, man. No problem.
All right,
If it helps you guys
heard
out,
it.
I'll
guys
do it
heard
for
it.
you, not for me.
Okay. I should have asked for more. I didn't realize you'd be so agreeable.
I know.
Dang. That's my bad. All right. Well, there you guys heard it. $50 for a picture of a shorts each month.
There you go.
You know that part? It'll happen every month. Yeah. So okay, we're gonna get away from the shorts. That's the last time I mentioned it. We're gonna completely shift gears because I want, before we get you out of here, because we want to be respectful of your time. Lately, maybe over the past, I don't know, 6 months. I mean, maybe even since the whole quarantine has gone on, you've been doing a lot of running. In fact, there was one time where I posted a picture of me running and on my stories, and Charles was like, "Hey, would you run sometime?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro, absolutely, I'd love to." And then the next day, he posts like the Nike app picture where it shows his mileage and time. It was running like a sub-7. I'm like, "Oh, screw you, dude."
You're like, no.
No, I'm like, I'm running like barely, like right at 9. No way I'm running with you.
Oh man.
I actually told Michelle Raby that too, because we did a podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this dude trying to give me, he's trying to kill me.
Told me. Yeah.
He's trying to kill me. There's no way I'm gonna run with him. And you're like, I'll go slow. It's like, I don't believe you.
Bro.
So, so
No, this is what you just need to run 10 miles or 12 miles and then be really tired and then run with Josh.
There you go. Yeah. No, honestly, like I was telling Josh.
It won't matter.
Yeah. Hey, I have. Oh, and actually, you had him on the Character Combine podcast. Blake Kidwell. That guy is an animal and a beast, and he can like. There's one guy that pushes me when I run with him. It's Blake, man. Like I'm about to die. At some point, I'm like, dude, we gotta slow down. I'm gonna throw up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I have like usually I can just try and like push through and keep up, but I'm like, dude, you're going too hard for me, man.
Oh, he's a large man. I believe it. He's in great shape.
He's a beast, and I mean, he's like 220 pounds, shredded, like insane, and can run like a freaking horse. So,
man, he was like grilling me in the DMs after our podcast because during the podcast I said, "Yeah, I wish I could go to your gym, but it's just too far from where I live." And then the next day, I got something saying, "He's like, where do you live?" Like, what? And I told him the city. And he's like, "That's not that far. Get down here." I'm like, then I'm terrified.
He's like, that's a 15-minute drive. Get down.
I know, seriously. And that's like, I don't know what to say because he's huge. And now I'm scared. But
hey,
Blake's one of my favorite people in this
awesome.
world, man. He's a good dude, good dad, like super good guy. Love him.
It was a great interview for sure.
I started going to his gym.
Oh,
nice.
Did you?
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
I went Saturday for a free thing, and that's all it took. I'm like, I went today. I'm going tomorrow. I'm going Thursday.
Good for you.
Like, I'm addicted already.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
Have you been to any of Blake's classes?
Not yet. So I'm trying to find him in the schedule where it works with my schedule. But with Christmas break coming up, it's like, okay, I'll find him. I'll take it.
Did you go to Jason's?
I think he does it early a lot.
No, I saw Jace there Saturday, but it wasn't his class. But I'll find Jace's class too. I want to try all the instructors.
You gotta figure out which ones you like the most for sure.
Awesome. Yeah.
So
I've done it a couple of times, and I love the workout too. But it's kind of a commute thing for me as well. Like it's a little farther for me, so
don't tell Blake
I
that.
need to
He'll
go.
come after you.
I know. I'm not gonna say.
Not that far.
I'm going to I want to go and just like go down there just to support him because of I'm sure I know they've been hit massively during COVID, and they're one of those companies that there's certain companies that have like thrived through COVID, and then there's other ones that take a massive hit, and I know they're one of them because they're in the gym industry. Every gym has. So but I love them, and anytime I can support them, I need to go support them after this conversation.
Dang, man, now I'm feeling guilty. Between the two of you guys.
Come on, guys.
I feel like Blake and Trav work together. Blake knew you were coming on here.
Boxing Midtown, go down there.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. People. We'll have to get Blake back on this podcast. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Where was I going with that question? Oh,
sorry, man. Running.
Okay. I got distracted because of my stupid story. So
that was me too.
No, I think it was mine. This is what happens. We're trying to take the blame for
Yeah.
each other. Okay. So all the running and stuff like that, but you've been running quite a bit. And then I think, last couple of weeks, maybe a month ago, you said that you were going to be doing an Ironman. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is it a full Ironman or a half?
I'm doing 2. I'm registered for 2. Oh shoot.
Uh-oh.
I got one in still.
We're still good. Keep it rolling.
Can you hear me okay? All right.
Yeah.
We used to not do video either, so this is all seen. This will be great.
Oh, okay. Shoot, man. I don't know if I should go real quick. Like, you start talking and I'll duck and get.
Wait, I'll talk about your Ironman.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm back. I'm still here.
Trav's doing an Ironman. I know nothing about it, but there we go.
He's back.
He's back.
All right. Yeah. So it's funny. I've always loved fitness. I played football in college for a couple years, and love football. Love like sports. However, I never have like really loved lifting weights. Like, I've never enjoyed that much. So I've always had that in like my fitness regimen, and I just felt like I had to do that in order to be fit. And then I was listening to what is it? James Clare. Is that ring a bell?
James Clare.
What is it? He talked. Sorry, man. I should know my stuff.
That's okay. It's all good.
It's talking about creating habits for yourself, and
okay.
I forget. It's like a top seller, super good book. But I listened to it through headphones because I hate reading. And but yeah, it like, he talked about finding like your fitness. Like, if you want to get into fitness, do things that you actually enjoy. Like, because you're going to be way more likely to stick to that habit or discipline. So I was like, shoot, why don't I just like, I actually really like running, and I like riding my bike because I do cycling, like road bike. And I was like, I like both those. And I'm like, I could get fit if I just do both those. Like, let me just stick to those, forget about weights. And so at the beginning of this past year, I set out a goal to, I never make goals for myself. I'm not good about that because I don't even know what goals to make. I'm just not like, it's not how my mind works. But at the beginning, like last year, towards the end, like in December, I was like, I want to run. I'm just going to stick to running. And so I set out to do 1,000 miles. Like, I wanted to run 1,000 miles in 2020. So I started out and I was running, I think like the first month, I wanted to set a goal for around like 100 miles a month. I knew that, there'd be some months I might get there, some months I might not, so at the first like 3 months, like first month I ran 60, the next one I did like 50, and I was having knee problems though. Like, my knees like couldn't handle all the running I started doing. I was running slow. I was running like 10-minute miles. Like, no, I'm just encouraging people. Like, if you go back and look at my times, I was legit running 9.5, 9-minute, 10-minute miles because my legs couldn't handle it. Like, they hurt so bad. Like,
sure.
I was having to ice my knees all the time. Like, I was just struggling. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get this goal figured out, And then all of a sudden, like, I think March rolled around when COVID hit, and I like dialed it in, and I hit like 100 miles that month. And then April hit 100 miles. And so like, I went on the streak of like hitting 100 miles, and I'm like, dude, I'm like right on. Like, July rolled around, I was at 500 miles. Like, I'm going to be able to hit my goal, no problem. So it stuck me to it. Like, I was going to surpass my goal. I was like way ahead of it. And then back in October, I went out one morning. I was running at like 5 a.m, and it's dark, and I hit a pothole and like rolled my foot super bad and like jacked up my foot. Yeah. So it set me back. I didn't run for like a month and a half. So it screwed me up a little bit, but I'm literally like 25 miles away from 1,000. So I'll get there.
Nice.
No problem. But yeah,
Wow.
I enjoy running. I started also riding my bike. When I couldn't run, I would go out and ride my bike because it didn't hurt my legs at all. So it didn't hurt my knee. So I was riding my bike a lot. And then at some point I was like, I should do a triathlon. I had told Mel back, like when we first got married, I always wanted to do a triathlon. Like, just, I had done a couple marathons. And I was like, I can figure out the swim part. And so anyways, I started incorporating some swim. I'm a terrible swimmer. I still am, but the more I do it, it definitely gets easier. So it's just like anything. So
Sure.
putting the time into it, I'm getting better at it and getting like accustomed to that. There's definitely a lot more work I need in that field, but yeah, it's always been like a goal of mine, and like I just know it'll be a challenge for me, and it was something for me to stay disciplined to, because I think sometimes I'm not a very disciplined person at like sticking to something all the time. So for me, it was just like a goal, like this is one thing that I can commit to, and I think it'll help me in my discipline and, you know, my health, even mental health, and the way I react with my family. And so it was like, I felt like it was a good goal, and I had the time to do it also. So
Cool.
yeah,
Nice.
I'm signed up for a half Ironman in May and then a full Ironman in October. So
And so what are the distances for each
Oh.
leg?
for the full is a 2-mile swim with a 112-mile bike and a marathon at the end. And so the half is like a mile swim, 56 mile bike, and then a half marathon.
Dang.
Yeah.
My sister did a half Ironman, and I
Oh.
watched her do it.
Oh,
And
cool.
at the end, oh god, she's a stud. This was years
Yeah.
ago, but like I ran like the finish with her, like because
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't do it. I was like, heck,
Yeah.
no, I'm not doing that with you. And she trained for it and stuff. But at the end, she finished it, and she doesn't remember crossing the finish line. She doesn't
No
remember,
way.
like she blacked out, and
Oh my God.
she went on a
That's
rant.
crazy.
I like ran with her, and I like, because she looked like she's about to collapse, and I grabbed her, and she goes, "I'm never doing this again. Don't make me do this again. I'm never." She like, and she doesn't remember saying any of that. I was like,
Oh,
Alicia, do
my
you remember when you
word.
said all that? She's like, "What did I say?" Like she was
Wow.
so out of
Just
it, like
out of it.
But she
That's
did
nuts.
it, and she
Good
like
for her.
that was
That's
like
awesome.
her biggest race that she's done. So that's
That's
I'm
awesome.
so excited for you. Yeah.
That's
It's
huge.
a huge accomplishment for when I hear.
Yeah.
I haven't done it, so I shouldn't be like praised for doing it. I'm excited that I've committed to it, and because they're like,
That's good.
yeah, they're a ton of money. That was another factor. I was like, what if I like do it, and then, you know, I think by paying the expensive registration fees is like making me like, I want to
Yeah.
do it, and I want to do it good. I don't want to just like finish it. I want to be like respectable in my times, and
Right.
like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
That's
committed
awesome.
to trying to train hard for it. So
Yeah.
for me,
Awesome.
not
And
like
really
pro
quick, the
level.
book.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
book, is it called Atomic Habits by James
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
Looks it up.
That's
Atomic
it.
Habits.
Such
Okay.
a good book.
Yeah.
You gotta, I encourage, like, that's one of my favorite books of all time. So, and I don't have a lot of lot of books on there, but that's one of them.
So you know he means it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that's gonna be that's cool, man. That swim, dude. I'll tell you what. That swim is the part that would make me the most nervous.
Yeah, and that's most people's, definitely. I think
Yeah.
most people get into triathlons because they've either biked or ran. I would guess a lot of, like, if I go look at blog things, you know, or like different sites, oftentimes the swim is the most terrifying for people, and it's just a matter of getting in the water and swimming for me. So
Yeah.
I know there's like good like different techniques and stuff, and I watch YouTube videos. I should get a coach, but I haven't yet. So
It's only a matter of time. Yeah, it's only a matter of time. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I definitely look forward to following that journey, man, because I'm sure you're gonna be posting about it. So
I do want to post about it for sure. It's something that's something like a little part of me that I can post on there. So.
Yeah, for sure. Do you, in those types of things, they have bikes for you, right? Or do you have
no,
your own bike?
You have your own bike.
Oh, you do have your own bike. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's a lot of bikes just to like have
Yeah,
it, and hopefully
sure.
it works for the person. So okay, cool. So you set your bike up, or you have someone like.
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting. All right.
Yeah, you go set it. You take it there before the race, and you have it like set up on. They have a bunch of rows that. Yeah. When you get out of the water, you go straight to your bike. You know where it is ahead of time because there's a lot out
like
there.
Your transition station.
Exactly.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There you
Makes
go.
sense. Awesome.
Crazy.
So, like, one last thing before we get you out of here, Trav, because we do, man, this has been a fun conversation. We do appreciate your time, and we know you're Your time is valuable, so we're
Thanks
not
for
going to keep
having
you
me.
forever.
No, dude,
Yeah.
at this point, I don't care at all. And I'm usually going to bed, and no worries at all.
Deb, you notice everybody says that. Like one of these days, we're gonna really take them up on that and just let this. Everybody
Just keep
says that.
talking.
Yeah, just keep talking.
Great. I'm gonna put on some coffee. We got till midnight, right? That's
It's
gonna
like, hey,
happen.
I'm a night owl, so I can do this all night. I love talking
Yeah.
too. So obviously, when we're recording this on December 15th, so obviously it's the middle of the Christmas season. Unfortunately, things will look a little bit different this year. But what are your guys' Christmas plans? What do you got going? Traditions, stuff like that.
We typically just spend Mel's family, her mom and her stepdad live here. So we typically do a day with her. We do Christmas Day always with Mel and the kids, just our immediate family. We do usually spend just that day with ourselves. And then usually like Christmas Eve, we either go with Mel's family or my parents. My parents also live here, and my sister and her 2 kids and husband. So it's pretty low key, to be honest. Nothing too exciting, but yeah, we have family town, which is awesome. It's helpful for sure. So
awesome. Yeah, I love this time of season, and like we stay pretty low key too. So
yeah,
like, I hate even saying what I'm about to say, but you know, it is what it is. Like with everything that's been going on, like it doesn't impact us quite as much when it comes to like some of the traditions and the celebration of Christmas. I know for some people though, it's like this whole thing, like they're usually going out of town. They're going, you know, they have all these like traditions that require being out in the public, and it's a huge bummer. So, you know, I think it's just, you know, I guess I'm just fortunate in that sense.
Totally. I think we haven't really been affected by that. Like we tried to go look at lights, like at Dove Court, you know,
oh dude, it's the saddest thing. It's the saddest thing. we went to, and we have an almost 2-year-old, and we're like, oh, it's gonna be awesome. And it's like, oh gosh. Yeah. It's that,
I think that's like that was like one thing that we noticed was affected. But other than that, like we typically did like at our church, the singing Christmas tree. But I don't really miss that, if I'm gonna be real.
Yeah. Hey, well,
but it's just a Christmas event that, you know, people enjoy.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm with you. I'm just gonna say that. No, can I say that? No, it's our podcast.
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
I don't work there anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Dang, I was gonna say something. I forgot. I distracted myself. Oh, yeah. Okay, now I remember. Sorry, man. This is how it goes. This is what we do. We've done this for like almost 2 years. This is how the conversation's been gone for 2 years.
That's good.
It has not changed, by the way.
We have not got any better.
We're very
professional.
We're very professional.
That's good.
No one ever says that. They leave. It's like,
this is the first time I've ever been on a podcast.
I was going to ask you that. First time, huh? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dang, man. You should have shot higher.
No. I was on one podcast years ago with like, I think before podcasts were like a thing. Like this was with Harper. Probably this was when I was in college. So it was like 2003. Yeah. 2004-ish, around then. So I told him when he was our first guest for the Combine podcast, and I told him like yours was kind of the first podcast I ever listened to. And so, it's kind of what got me here. So we took it full circle. But okay, so last question, I promise. So you obviously have kids. It's the Christmas season. Do you guys do Elf on the Shelf? We do.
Why?
We do.
Why? That seems like it's unnecessary stress, man.
You're gonna have to do that for Zoe one day, Josh.
Oh no, I will not. Rachel and
You're ruining her childhood, man. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. You think that hurts me?
Don't start it.
I'm okay.
Don't start it.
We had this conversation with the last Combine podcast I did. We were talking about that with PJ and Ryan, and I'm like, I didn't even have this thought until they were talking about it. But once you commit to it, you're committed.
Exactly.
You're in it.
You're done. If you don't come out the next year, you're in big trouble. Like kids automatically are questioning things, and you're in trouble.
Yeah. So
you have to come up with some lie to them that why they didn't come.
like the elf died. Like that's horrible. But
Exactly.
you know, you've been pushed to that point. Okay, so but you guys do it.
Yeah, we
And-
do. And so I don't know, like 2 years ago, Mel decided to get a second one. So now we have two. Yeah, it's like it actually causes problems. Like it actually makes it
Oh,
more
no.
challenging because now like it was fine just to figure out where to put one, but now I got to figure out where to put two. And I often it's like I don't know how, but it ends up like being my job. And so yeah, I'm constantly like legit, no joke. I woke up at 1:30 in the morning the other day and forgot, went downstairs, moved the stinking the elves. I said I was gonna say shelves and the elves.
Yeah. The shelves. That's dedication.
Oh
It's like move the entire shelf.
my gosh.
Yeah, so yeah, I can't stand them. And actually, Ella, our oldest, found out that they're fake this year because she has friends and they talked about it, and she's like, "Dad, I know they're fake." And I was like, "You're right." And so she has helped like 2 different nights at moving
Oh,
them.
nice.
Like she wanted to do it, but she goes to the bed at the same time as the boys, so it's kind of hard managing that. But
She just has
she's
to give you the
woken up.
ideas. Like, give me a list of
Yeah.
ideas. I'll take care of
Yeah.
it. But that's
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, that's see, that's the problem,
can
man. Like,
help.
I can't do it. Like Rachel and I are like,
Yeah.
because I asked her, I said, so once our kids get old enough, are we doing this?
Yeah.
She's like, no,
Yeah.
perfect, because I wasn't gonna let it happen.
I think that's wise.
I can't do it. Plus, the
Yeah.
little guy creeps me out. I'm gonna be honest. Like he creeps me
Yeah.
out. Like I don't want to look at him. I don't want to touch
I
him.
know.
I don't want to do any of
The
that
eyes.
stuff. So
I know. I feel like
It's
they're
the
looking
eyes.
at you.
you got
I
4 of
know.
them there at your house.
Yeah,
4 little
exactly.
eyes.
We have a
So-
guy and a girl, and it's just it's just weird. I don't know. Yeah.
Oh, I feel like, well, let's just say this.
Yeah.
So people, obviously, like the big thing with the elf on the shelf is how creative they get. I feel
Yeah.
like they should have just let, having a guy and a girl in the house, depending on how, depending on how
Yeah.
wild you get, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
We try not to get too wild, but occasionally it could look that way.
all right. I'm just saying, this is not the Combine podcast anymore. I'm so much
Yeah,
freer.
yeah.
I can say
There's
whatever I
no
want.
character on this.
Yeah,
one.
no
It's fine.
character. We left that behind. Hey,
Oh my
you got 100 other episodes to check out if you want
Yeah.
that. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good
No,
place to
just
end it.
Yeah, definitely.
So hey,
Definitely,
man. So we want to end every episode with guests like this. We're letting everybody know for the first time because you're our first guest, and you already
Yeah.
alluded to it partially.
Yeah, sorry.
No,
Jumped
you're
the
good. You're good. That's okay. You ruined that last question. That's fine.
Yeah.
No, give us someone that you want to shout out, someone that, our whole goal is to be more connectable with people,
Awesome.
or whether it's an organization, a brand, a movie, a TV show, whatever it is. And like you said, just remind us again who you suggested that we should get more connected with. And then obviously we want to hear how we can get more connected with you.
Awesome. Thank you, man. I would say as a person to, if you're looking for someone of like influence, I think Erwin McManus is awesome. I think he challenges the way that we see life and challenges the way I, view things. And but super intelligent, very smart. Love listening to him, and his son is awesome too. But there's that podcast, the Battle Ready podcast, and then I would say like for like a company, I was saying earlier actually, like Title Boxing, like I think of them. If you're local, another company I love is Kingdom Coffee. If you like coffee, you can buy their coffee online. Super good coffee if you're into coffee.
They're in Folsom? Okay.
Yeah, they're in Folsom. Love those guys. They're super good friends of mine. Not like super close, but made a relationship with them. Love those guys. Would highly recommend them to anyone looking for a good coffee shop.
Awesome.
And they're a small business, so affected too, and cheering for them.
For sure.
And then any other ones on that list? Or
no, not so much a list, but
Okay.
like any of those things, if you wanted to shout out any of those types of things. But how about yourself?
Yeah.
Where can we follow you? And then obviously Melissa as well.
Yeah, my Instagram handle is trav_cole_, and then Mel's is Elderbrook's blog. And yeah, I think for me, if you want to follow me, you can. Like I try to like if you look at my handle, it's like all over the place. Like there's no uniform to it. I like photography, so I try to post like high quality photos there and talk about some. I get deep sometimes, very rarely. But if I do, it's usually about like my kids and being a dad. But other than that, yeah, it's like some fashion stuff, maybe just quality photography that I think is quality. Some might not.
No, I do. You know what, man? I don't want to end on a negative note, but I'm going to bring this up. I'm glad you said that because when we first started doing our podcast, I reached out to Trav to see if he would take
You
pictures
did,
for us,
man.
and
I
he
feel
denied
bad.
it. He's denied me
I
twice.
feel bad.
That's okay.
I know.
Okay.
But you
bad
came on
I
this
haven't.
podcast. I'm just giving you a hard time.
I know. No, I
it's all
should have.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's too late now, but it's fine. It's all right.
I don't like taking, bro. I can't tell you how many people I've turned down to take photos for. Like
No,
I hate that pressure. Like
Sure.
like that's something I actually struggle with. I need to be better about is like putting value in like what I do. Like Erwin talks about that. You know, he's an artist and talks about why he's worth so much, and he sees the value in his artistic, eye and creativity. And I don't see my value. I devalue my quality all the time. And I've always said from day one, I need to be better about that. And I haven't really grown. And, but I hate, I hate taking photos for other people, like just the pressure of it. So, but occasionally I've done it like maybe 5 times max. And, I'm never satisfied with the product at the end. I feel like, I don't like doing it, but
that's why you're good at it, though, man. Like, I think that's for an artist. I mean, Deb's also a writer, and I'm sure Deb, you can agree with that. I edit a podcast, not a huge deal, but I do that, and
that's
it's like
a big deal, bro.
You feel like at the end of it, I think when it comes to art, like I think the people that are most successful are the people that have that in them. It's like they're their own toughest critic, and it's never quite good enough, and there's always something to improve on. So your stuff's dope, man. I'll say it for you. You won't say it, but it's that's why I reached out, and no hard feelings. I understand.
One day.
This is how we take pictures. The way we take pictures of ourselves is we say ready 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Smile.
It's shift command 3. That's all I do. Yeah.
We just smile and take a picture.
Do you guys want to get back into like a studio, or like not a studio, but like a room where you have mics and stuff, or do you not have any intention to want to do that? So
I'll say this. Sorry, Deb. I'm gonna just let me cut you off. It's actually been nice not seeing Deb for a while. No, I'm just kidding.
Whatever.
No, I tell people like Deb's almost like my cousin at this point. You know what I mean?
Well,
like, that's the kind of relationship.
We were about to start a podcast, and I opened it, and I let Josh in the waiting room, and it was his wife, and I was like, "Oh, thank God!" I was like, hey, and it wasn't him.
Yeah, she was so happy too. It's like, "Oh, thank God."
But then she had to leave, and Josh had to sit down, and we had to talk and stuff. But
it was a letdown. Yeah. Well, that's how, I don't know if you know this, Trav, but that's actually, we explained in our first episode, the one before this. So I met Deb because she was going to a Bible study at Capitol with Ashley, my sister, and Rachel, my wife.
Oh, nice.
And so like they started getting knowing.
Hang on. Let me clarify. Hang on.
Okay.
I went by myself.
Yeah.
Someone pointed to them to me and said, "Oh, they're teachers too." And I said, "Oh, cool. Okay, they're going to be my friend." And I walked over there, and then I forced my friendship on them. So that's how.
Right.
And
then I hijacked their friend, basically. I said, I need a co-host because Trav said no. So.
So I see Josh way more than those two.
Yeah. But no, but to answer your question, no, this has been weird. And the strangest thing about this whole thing is the fact that it's become normal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so every Tuesday night, I'm like, I text Deb, I'm like, hey, we're still good for this podcast. She's like, yeah. I'll send the link. And then we hop on here. Like, I just don't even think about it anymore. Whereas before, it was a whole different, like I would go to the studio after work, we'd record at a different time. I miss it. Like, I would rather be sitting in front of you guys and having this conversation because it's so much better. So, right now it's, people have different levels of, comfort when it comes to meeting right now because of everything that's going on. And I get that. So for us, it's just easier to say, okay, across the board, because we've had some people who are like,
I got you.
We're like, hey, can we meet in person instead? It's like, it's not really what we're doing right now because it's easier. Like, I don't want to meet, 1 week, you know what I'm saying? Plus the place, plus I don't know, there's certain rules of the place where we record, and I want to be respectful of what they're doing as well. So to answer your question, like, I would love to get back in the studio. In fact, with this podcast, when we started talking about it, we had a whole, like, we were starting to like have a vision and a plan for what we wanted it to look like instead of being at the table like it normally is. We wanted to do the video like on either like a different table or like a couch, kind of like like an L-shaped couch where the guest was on one side. And so we had like a whole vision for it, but COVID said pivot a little bit. You know what I mean?
Adjust. That's good.
So
one day you'll go back to that. You can do that.
And, hey man, I'm thinking you should start your own podcast.
Nope.
I tried.
I'll join you again if you want me to join you.
Hey, be careful.
This is the most talking I've done in a long time. So
we take that so seriously.
I don't have much more knowledge.
No, that's not true, man. There's so much more. We could have talked about so much more.
No, I don't want to get in trouble to go into any of that.
It's our podcast. We can do whatever we want. It's all good.
True. And I'm not part of your podcast, so I can say whatever I want, and you do.
That's very true.
Well, you might get in trouble. I won't get in trouble. I'm gone. Like,
you just get to drop a bomb and leave. I've only had to bleep one person in all my time doing podcasts. It was my own brother.
Nice.
He decided to make it. He made a very funny joke that was not going to fly. I'm like, and even he texted me that night. He's like, "You gonna leave that in?" I'm like, "Yeah, I probably will." And then the next day he's like, "Nah, you probably should just take that out." I'm like, "All right, I'll take it out." So, I'll take it out.
Good.
So yeah,
he was getting nervous.
He was getting a little bit nervous. It was very funny though. I will give him credit. It was a hilarious joke, but not appropriate. So
you have to tell me off camera.
I'll tell you off camera. Yeah.
Just
so anyways, man, so that's enough sidetrack. We've kept you for long enough. And dude, we appreciate this. And thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, make sure you go follow Trav, follow his wife, Melissa.
Thanks.
Check out everything they're doing. So
until next time. Guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm honored that you asked me to be, especially even on this, and then especially on your very first one. Like, Mel would have made this 10 times better. So we'll have to get her on there.
All right. How about this? Next time we'll just have her on. And then we'll see if these we'll ask the same questions and see how these things line up.
Yeah, it's like we'll be in trouble. We're having another fight. No.
Yeah, it's like, you know what Trav said about you last time?
Let me replay this for you really quick.
Yeah.
This clip.
Absolutely. So awesome, man. Well, we appreciate it, and have a Merry Christmas and say hello to the family.
For sure.
Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.